Hello everyone, today we will be making reusable beeswax wraps. These can be used in replacement of single-use plastics like Ziploc bags and cling film. These are food safe and can be used for things like cups, utensils for when you bring your meals to school or work, cut up fruits and veggies, and bowls. So let's get started. Today I will be showing you two methods of making these wraps, and the main materials you will need are pine resin. This will help you make your wraps tacky so it can stick. This might be hard to find, but you can get it online or in some bulk stores. If yours comes in a chunk, break it up by placing it in a bag or in a towel and using a hammer to break it into fine powder. Next is food grade beeswax. I just got this on Amazon. It also might come in chunks, so for that you want to use a cheese grater and grate it into smaller pieces. And lastly is fabric. Make sure you wash it before you start this project and that it is relatively thin and made of cotton. You can cut this into desired shapes and sizes. For the first method, you are going to need an ironing board and iron. And you want to plug in your iron and set it to medium heat. Then you are going to lay down one large piece of parchment paper. You want to make sure this is significantly larger than your piece of fabric to prevent the beeswax from spilling. Then, roughly lay out a layer of beeswax about the size of your fabric. If you have one-sided fabric, place the pattern side down. Now, add another thin layer of beeswax, and you do not have to put too much. You can always add more later. Now, place another large sheet of parchment paper on top and run your iron on top of the fabric until everything has melted. You will know it is done when the iron glides smoothly. If you notice some spots that's missing beeswax, take the first layer of parchment paper off and add some more beeswax and continue to melt. Now that it's all covered, carefully remove the first layer of parchment paper, and this will be hot, and sprinkle a very light layer of pine resin. Too much will make the wraps very sticky. Once again, place the parchment paper back onto the fabric and glide the iron through until it has completely melted. Give it about 30 seconds to cool down, and now remove the first layer of parchment paper and pick up the beeswax wrap. But you want to pick it up to prevent the extra wax from pooling on top and making it crumble. Flap it around for about 30 seconds and it should dry very quickly. Now it's ready to use. In this second method, you are going to preheat your oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. You will also need a baking tray and something to line it with. You can use parchment paper or tin foil. Place your fabric with the pattern side down and sprinkle on some beeswax on top of the fabric. Ensure it is evenly spread out and all corners are covered. Once the oven has reached the right temperature, place your baking sheet in. It only takes about 2 minutes for everything to melt. Do not leave it in for too long or it will start smoking like it did here. Carefully take it out and sprinkle some resin all over the fabric. Really make sure the resin is a fine powder or you will get bumps of resin once the wraps dry. Place it back in the oven for 2 more minutes. Like the first method, pick up the wrap while it's still warm and use some tongs and wave it around until dry. This will take about 30 seconds and now it's ready to use. To clean, use cold water and some dish detergent and gently scrub down the wraps. Make sure you do not use hot water because this will melt the wax off the sheets. After you finish washing, let it air dry. For storage, you want to neatly fold it and store it in a cool place in an enclosed environment. I like to put mine in a jar on my countertop. This prevents dust particles from sticking onto it. As you continue to use these wraps, scrunching it up, washing, or accidentally exposing it to heat, you might start to notice that the wax could be chipping off or clumping together. This is completely normal, and all you have to do is put it back in some heat, either under an iron or in the oven like we did to make this. And if there's missing beeswax, just add a little bit more and it's good to go again. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you try making this at home as well.